It's been 5 days since application of the Simple Lawn Solutions Micros. I think things are a little bit darker. A lot of leaves are falling, so the temperatures are dropping a little bit. But there's definitely a little bit of darkening. I think that's mostly due to the iron that's in that product. Since lighting is everything, I'm gonna do this in the evening. You can kind of see some shadows a little bit here. The application line was right about here, so you can kind of see there's a little bit of a delineation where the application stopped. I think it is a little bit darker over here, mostly because of the iron that was in that spray. So I think things have improved slightly. It's kind of hard to see on the camera, but you can see there is a little bit of a difference. Now, you're gonna notice this more of a soil benefit as to a foliar leaf benefit to the grass, so it's not going to be immediate results, obviously, but I think the long-term benefits are going to be to the soil. So we're going to have to do this application continuously, and we should be seeing better results over time. What's up, everyone? Thanks for joining me today. I'm going to be talking about winterizing your lawn. It is middle of October right now in southeast Wisconsin, and I'm going to be throwing down the rest of my Greenway Biotech Ammonium Sulfate 2100. That's going to be going in the front lawn. I'm going to be spiking it, of course, with my favorite ferrous iron sulfate. That's where we get the nice dark green color from the iron there. And as you saw in the intro, I applied this stuff about a week and a half ago, so the bottle's still about half full yet. I'm going to probably be applying the rest of that, and I'm going to mix all this up into my sprayer. But first, we're going to mow as low as we can go. I've been mowing at 1 inch with my reel mower, so I'm going to continue that trend. We're just going to take a little bit off the top, and then we're going to throw down as much nitrogen as possible before the temps get way too cold and growth stops. I probably have another 2 or 3 weeks maybe in the growing season, maybe more, depends on where you live and what the future outlook of the temperature looks like in your region. So you may be able to continue spoon feeding your lawn through the middle of November, but it's getting down to 32 at night, so I think now is a good time to throw down a heavier amount, because I won't have too many opportunities left for that. So let's get right into it. It's way too windy out here. So all these leaves on my lawn are not from any of my trees. You can see that tree still has all its leaves. That tree still has all its leaves. It's all coming from that tree across the street. But whatever. Here's my advice regarding the leaves. Just mulch them up, because that is free organic matter that you can put right back into your ground. So instead of blowing them all onto the street or raking them up, I mean, by all means spread them around so you don't have huge clumps of leaves. Like over here, I would spread that out amongst this whole area. But it is beneficial to your lawn. Like what I have here, just a light scattering of leaves. Just go ahead and mulch it up. It's healthy for the lawn. It'll break down over the winter time, and in the spring it should be fully broken down into your lawn as long as it's chopped up into fine pieces. But I'm going to spray tomorrow, I think. Hopefully these winds calm down. I had about a third of a bag left of my Lesco fertilizer. I decided I'm going to throw that down as well, just before I put down the liquid fertilizer. It's still a little windy today, but it's better. Might have a little bit of wind drift with the spraying, but that's alright. I just wanted to go into a little bit of detail about how I actually use a spreader. Now, I've mentioned this in several videos before, but I've been asked questions about it. So I'm going to just briefly talk about it a little bit. The best way I can explain how to use a spreader is it's going to be different for everybody, so you really need to play around with it. Start with using a organic fertilizer like Mulching or something where you can throw down a lot of it without having to worry about burning your grass. But basically, I'm just going to show you the pattern. So if you know my outline of my front yard, this is kind of what it looks like. This is a tree, there's that fire hydrant and those posts on the ground, there's that street light on the corner. So what I usually do is I do a trim pass first. So I'll take a different color marker so you can kind of see it. So here's the front of my house. Here's my driveway. I start in the corner, so it doesn't matter. Your house will be totally different, obviously. Pick a start corner. So I always start here with my spreader, and what I do is I walk at a medium pace, about 3 miles per hour. It's kind of a brisk walk, I would call it. You don't want to go too slow, but you don't want to like power walk. I kind of have a tendency to power walk when I'm spreading, so I try to slow myself down to about 3.5 miles an hour is good. And you'll notice that the spread pattern is a little bit wider if you go faster and narrower when you go slower. It doesn't matter, just as long as you're overlapping a little bit. So what I'm doing is I start here and I walk. And you can use the Edgeguard if you want to, or you can, if you're good at it, you can just kind of look where the granules are falling, just as long as you're not going into the driveway too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk a perimeter like this. And then I'll turn like this. Step 1, walk a perimeter. And then I'll stop. Now when I'm spreading, it'll throw like this. You'll have a pattern. So you want to make sure that when you are finished here, I'm going to stop after I do my round. I'm going to go back up, but I'm not going to go right next to where I start. I'm going to go over to about here and start walking up this way. And as I'm walking with the spreader this way, the granules are spreading out like this. Now notice it's overlapping a little bit. You want to overlap about 1/3 of the path. So if you are throwing out to this blue line here, you want, on this pass, you want to throw out so that way there's an overlap. But keep an eye as you're walking. Watch out of your peripheral vision as you're walking how far these granules are throwing. So by the time you get here, you're going to stop, turn around, and then you're going to walk without dispensing anything. You're going to turn about right about here. And then I'm going to re-engage the spreader, and it's going to spread the granules out back this direction. And you want to, again, make sure you're overlapping. And it's going to spread out to, say, like that. So I'm going to keep going. I'm going to stop when I get to the end. I'm going to turn about, and I'm going to come up this way. Same deal. And then when you get to an obstacle, I noticed that I was already throwing granules over here. So what I want to do is I want to walk this way. And it's going to throw some granules into the mulch, but that's fine. So you're going to go this way, and then I usually come back around like that and stop. So you're going to have granules being thrown into your mulch and stuff. That's not a big deal. So then I go back to about here, and I spread like that, and then I'll come back around like that. Doesn't have to be exact, so by the time you finish, you'll probably finish up here or back here by the time you're done, depending on how many times. Now you want to go back a second time, and you want to walk the other direction. So you want to start, say, in this corner. You're going to walk this direction. And then you'll be throwing granules like that. Make sense? So by the time you're done, your walking pattern is going to look something along those lines, and then you'll stop right here. And hopefully you've dispensed everything. Now I know that was kind of a long, boring chat, but I wanted to kind of explain how this works, because I've been asked several times, and I thought now would be an appropriate time, since we're doing the fall renovation, that you guys would find this useful. But if you want to skip ahead, go ahead. I don't mind if you skip this part. But if you found it useful, leave a comment below if you want more in-depth explanations like this. I would like to know for future videos if you found this helpful or not. So I'm going to get back to spreading, and I'll show you what it looks like. You'll be able to see the granules here, but when I start walking, keep an eye on these corners. You can see these little white granules will be thrown a couple of feet in each direction. So just to give you a reference, I'm going to go right down that line right there. And we're gonna stop because I reached the end. See how much further it was throwing. I had a couple granules bounce off of that pavement right there. So I don't know, maybe 3-4 feet that I stopped before I got too far. The granules was throwing right about to here, another 3 feet in each direction. So we already covered that spot. So we're gonna come all the way over here. Now I was just walking over this direction, but the granules were throwing to about this far. So when I go back here, it's gonna disperse about to that far. It's gonna overlap maybe a foot or two, which is fine. That's why we walk in both directions on this. Now I stopped because I've reached that. You can see they started bouncing right up to there. And you can see where I stopped. I'm gonna turn around up here. And I'm gonna continue. I started throwing some to the corner there, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go this way around the tree. And then we're going to stop and just repeat that process. So I was throwing a little bit to right about this line. I'm going to finish up. Well, I finished up the Lesco fertilizer, so it turns out I had more of that left than I thought I did, so I got a full application down of that. So I'm going to wait another week to put this stuff down, but you guys have seen me do that already in mixing my sprayer. It's the exact same as I did in my last video, so if you want to reference that, I'll put a card up here and you can click on that and see how I mix it up into my sprayer and how I do the application, but it's the same thing. Basically, I'm just trying to spoon feed my lawn about a 1/4 pound of nitrogen each application every 2 weeks, but this time of year I've been throwing it down hard and heavy, so I put down about just over a 1/4 pound with the Lesco, but that's a slow release. So I'm going to wait a week. I'm going to put down the remainder of this. I think I got about 3 pounds left, maybe, over 5,000 square feet. I think I'm probably going to have about a 1/4 pound of nitrogen as well. This is 21%. Yeah, so I'll have to do the math. I'm not going to do it in my head right now and make this video longer than it's already been. But anyway, thanks for watching today, guys. If you found this video useful, go ahead and hit subscribe, leave a comment below, and be sure to stick around for future videos. Until next time, thanks for watching.